Hello, good evening. Uh, it's funny me and the wife done our first 5K this morning, uh, and we don't know how to do the easy blacktop. This was actually a trail run 5K over by the house. So we got up early this morning and wanting run a 5K, or she ran a 5K. I accomplished walking a 5K. Uh, so it's just uh, I was number 100 out of 100, which that was my goal today, was for accomplishment. It was to say I've done one. Uh, March 18th. My time was an hour and 23 minutes. My speed was 2.2 miles an hour. Like I said, it was to accomplish the mission. It wasn't, and I guess most people would think it was weird, but uh, I knew I was going to be last when I started across the starting line. It didn't bother me. Who shows up to a race to come in last, knowing they will come in last? Most people do not. Well, you know me, I'm different. But as I was walking this walk, climbing these hills, stop and catch my breath about three times up every hill because, hey, dibs to the guy that made this trail because he did not make it easy. This was a trail run. He picked all the hardest parts to do Mount Hill and done it. It was a challenge. And kudos to the young kid that actually known his daddy for years and remember when he was born, but he was the one that won first, and I can't remember what his time was, but as he 30 years younger, 40 years younger than me. But anyways, good kid. Um, and then the wife, she represented her class, was 12th in her class age group. Uh, but she ran it. She did a good job. Proud of her. And just going through all that, and two women in front of me walking off and leave me like I was nothing. It's one of those things where, because I know they were. Well, actually, they wasn't as old as I thought they was. They wasn't. It was about 10 years older than me. But anyways, it's funny. Uh, Most guys would just be like, you know, most people in general, talking to my wife about it, most people in general would say, why did you even go? I mean, it's embarrassment. No, I mean, it's one of those things because the whole purpose of that journey, the whole purpose of it was support a dog park that they're putting in, love our animals. Um, but I was there as three different people. I was there as a father, I was there as a son, and I was there as a Christian, or you know, I was there to represent Christ. Um, and that's the thing. There was multiple people I got to talk to, and I got to say, is tell my story, and my battle with cancer and how Lord's brought me to where I'm at, and the blessings I was able to pass along to them. And that was the whole point, and it was the whole point of me being there, was to get the opportunity to say, hey, you know the devil tried to tie me down and give me 3 months to live, and God was chuckling in heaven and going, what's this? And it really humbles me every time I think about it, because why me? I'm just me. I'm nothing special, but in God's eyes, I am. And the thing about it is out of these 100 people that run today, every one of them had a different mission in their minds. You know, a lot of them was to be first. You know, some of them was to be faster than maybe their last 5K to beat their time, you know, personal time. You know, I had my goal was to accomplish it, but it was also to prove that, you know, this 5K everyday life that most people, that everybody has, you know, Lord talks about doing it, you know, one day at a time, you know, this one 5K at a time, you know, one 20K at a time, you know, 5K is all I can ever see myself doing. But, you know, who knows? You know, who knows what the Lord has in store for me in the future? You know, uh, but you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to try. You know, yeah. It'd been a lot easier. It was, what, 20 degrees this morning, I think. I left the house. You know, what's Dumont Hills right here at the house. I mean, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't that long of a drive. Not even enough to warm the truck up good. But, you know, it was cold and, you know, uh, we could have stayed at home. It was early. You know, we're not, we've been working nights and everything for the last so many years. You know, we're not morning people. You know, I've tried to fight back to be a morning person. I used to be, you know, but we're not morning people. You know, so we done things that we usually wouldn't do to be there. You know, and, and people laugh at me and say, "You done all that knowing you'd be last." Yes, yes, I did. And I think that if more people look at life like that, you know, it's all about what God give me. It's not about, you know, if God wanted me to be first today, I do believe He says He can move mountains. If He wanted me to be that young kid today, you you don't think it's possible because we underestimate our God. But if God set me on the track this morning and said, "Watch this," I could have beat that young kid with God. That, you know, I finished it because of God. That's the whole point. Why do we not let God do more for us? Why do not we not stand back instead of trying to fight these battles ourselves? Give them to God. And it's a lot of times it's because of the poor outlook. I've had it and I've caught myself. Derek had Nails of I Am on his ministry the other day, and Nails of I Am story was awesome. Derek's doing awesome work. It's funny because Derek and Nails of I Am and Josh and, you know, Casey, and, you know, my sister does a thing where she sends out on Messenger and does these things. But the armor of Christ has been just fluent in all these right now. I mean, it's just like, you know, and I don't know, you know, who got it going. You know, I know I mention it all the time because I think the armor of Christ is the most important scripture in the Bible. If you're a new Christian, you need to learn Ephesians, you know, because that's the whole point. God's there to protect you. And, you know, I think sometimes we interpret that as to go into battle, which it is. It's to go to battle. But the thing about it is we forget God's done won the battle. He knew today was going to come when they told me in 2020 that you're fixing to die of cancer. When they give me a date that said this is basically we're giving you 2 months to live instead 3 months to live, and if you make it past that, you're going to be lucky. God was laughing. He goes, no. He goes, March 18th of 23, he's going to walk a 5K. Y'all just watch and see. And it's not, it's God, So why don't we have a little more faith? And that's the thing. God asked for faith of a mustard seed. And, I've heard people brag about my faith. My faith is just the faith of a mustard seed. Because I try to say it because a lot of times it's to convince myself. I worry about stuff I shouldn't worry about because God's took me so far. God's done so much for me. God's been in my life since I was a baby and took care of me. Why do I doubt him? But I still do. I doubt him on a daily basis. I doubt that, this is going to be taken care of. This will be taken care of. And he's done got it won. And is it about winning or is it about accomplishing? I've always been an accomplisher, and, I decided to become a firefighter, and it was about accomplishing getting hours in and becoming a firefighter, and decided to become an EMT. And at 40-some years old, and the old guy in the class, and I accomplished it and, become an EMT and loved it. And God said it was time for you to lay both of them down. Still technically a firefighter. Don't go to the fire runs, go to the meetings. I give the mental support, which is funny, the experience to some of these younger firefighters, more of the, hey, you can do it. Because Kentucky is a big volunteer. We have a lot of volunteer departments, and the time and the effort it takes to keep your certification up and, go to the meetings and, and then be there on a fire run when, the tones go off at midnight, and you're having to run out, or tones go out while you're eating supper or while your kids are at a ball game. And, it takes a lot, and there's not a lot of participation anymore. And the whole point of it all is we put everything into one thing, and it's accomplishing these goals. Why can't we put a little bit into God? And God has won all this before we started. He knew that I could accomplish that this morning. And my biggest thing was, I knew everybody else because, it started at 8. They had awards at 9. My time was an hour and 23 minutes, so they done had awards over before I got through with the race. Mine was more of disrupting, everybody else's schedule, them waiting on me. That was more of what I was worried about. And, thank God, people still have hearts, and they wasn't. It didn't bother them, or they didn't act like it bothered them. Well, they went home and complained about the old guy running running doing a 5K and being the last one in. That's between them and God. I don't care. That's the thing. I don't care. I I wouldn't have cared if they had everything packed up and left before I got back, and I didn't know my time or nothing like that. To me, the day was about accomplishing that, and I don't know, the next 5K, or if I do another 5K, is it about beating an hour and 20 minutes, doing it, slower, faster? I mean, you know, but I believe I could actually do a street one a whole lot faster because the hills, you have to stop 3 times on every hill to get your breath. I mean, it takes up a little time when you're spending 5-10 minutes catching your breath. But, hey, it's a part of life. Sometimes we fail to stop and say, God, oh, give me some breath. Give me some oxygen. Let me breathe in a little deeper. Uh, and but God will give you, uh, Josh, Bachelor for Christ is, where there is life, where there is breath, there is life. Well, where there's breath, there's hope. Well, after battling lung cancer, and a good friend of mine, he had COPD, and he's losing weight and getting it under control. And we talk about it all the time. People don't realize that when your oxygen level gets down low, crazy things go on. It's worse than when you get to where you ain't getting no oxygen through your system. There's memory lapses and everything. Your oxygen drops. I mean, it does crazy things. Which as an EMT, I always knew it did. We was taught it did, but till you experience it, it's kind of different. That's like people with blood sugar and stuff like that. Well, to me, I wouldn't know what to do without God. God is like taking my breath away. You take God out of my life, and I wouldn't. You took God out of my life, and I'd be scared to know where I would be. I would really be scared to see where I would be, where I'd be in my life, and would I'd even be here. Truthfully, I don't know. Well, yeah, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for God in my life, if it wasn't for God looking at me and saying, "Nah, I'm gonna leave you down there a little while longer," either that, or He's looking down and saying, "Oh, I ain't ready for you up here, son. No, 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 no. You're a little too much. You need to stay down there for a little while." Uh, that's what I joke about. Father goes, "No, no, you stay down there. You're in a lot of trouble. You gonna come here start something up here. I need you to stay down there a little while longer." The hardiness and bullheadedness. Why He's left me here. But kind of rattling. Had chemo Thursday, so which I posted on here that during my treatment, one of the first time I've ever done that. But so steroids have still got me scatterbrained worse than usual. ADHD and steroids they're rough. Get your mind going 200 miles an hour in every different direction. But I guess the whole message is, God will get you there. God will get you there first. If He wants you there first, He'll get you there 12th. He'll get you there last. But we have to depend on God because, would my impression, if I would have been, say, there's 100, if I'd been number 50, would, could I have blessed God with 50? Yeah. Because He would open the door. And we fail to look for the door sometimes that he's got wide open. We walk right past him. That's, you know, yeah, telling on the wife a little bit. But, because she was running for time, and there's one section they had down there at the bottom where you could run through a creek. Well, I can guarantee you, out of the 100 people, most of them never see that sign because they run right past it. Well, oh man, he was walking, so he had time to read the sign, and it said, take a left if you want to make a splash. And it was, talking about going through the creek and then, go straight. And, so we get done and she goes, well, my feet got wet running through, the grass and stuff. Or she said, my feet got wet. And I said, so, oh, you run through the creek? She goes, no, what do you mean? And she goes, I just got them because of the grass. I'm like, well, there's a sign down there. You give you the option to run through the creek. And she goes, well, I've never seen that sign. And told her exactly what it was. And she was like, well, but she run right past and never seen it. And, sometimes I think that's the reason, I'm going through the last 2 years of what I've been going through. Because I think I was running through life so fast that I wasn't seeing a lot of stuff. And sometimes God does do things to slow us down. Do I think God give me cancer? No. And let me rephrase what I just said. Let me take that back. I think that God uses events to change our perspective. I don't think God gave me cancer. I don't think God because it says we're there to make our own choices. I think, that cancer was just something. Do I want to blame it on the devil? Yeah, there's part of me that does, but there's part of me that says I don't want to give the devil that much credit, even though I know that the devil throws things at you and is wanting to break you, and there God is, and he's saying, watch this. My son is stronger than you think. I will turn it around and use it as a blessing. Use something that the devil threw at you, and he's going to turn around and use it as a blessing. And I think there's so many times that happens and we don't see it. We don't realize it. The old devil throws the chains on us, and God breaks the chains in half, and or he uses us as an example because he says, I'm going to break the chains that the devil's thrown against him, and I'm going to use that to save us, to help this other guy get through something that he's going through. And that's the thing. And that's, the only reason I'm doing these YouTube videos is because it's for whoever needs this video at the time when they see it. Whether I'm here or it's 20 years from now when I'm dead and gone, 20, 30, 40 years from now when I'm dead and gone, however, how much time God allows me, or maybe it's somebody that's, clicks on it and says, oh man, I need that right now. I don't care what kind of chains the devil has you bound with. I don't care how big of a foot you think the devil's got on your chest. I've been there. I fight it all the time. I took a guy that was working 2 jobs, involved in everything, and then throw him down and say, you're homeward bound. Then you throw coronavirus in on top of it, which that had just started. It was in amongst all the time of the diagnosis of cancer, and you throw me just the devil threw me for a tailspin, the whole everything. And if it wasn't for God's hand and Him packing me through the last couple of years, and packing my wife and packing my family, Lord, I know He's been there for my wife because she's been strong enough to be there for me, and I'm blessed. I thank God for her every day, because where would I have been without her? She's she's been here, and you know, emptied my puke bags and cleaned me up after I have an episode, or sit there and watch me, and just throw blankets on me when I was having the major spells when I first started chemo. And she started walking, and wanting to hike, and she's got me to help, wanting to be right there with her. So, it's got me out and about and walking, and she's the only reason I was able to do it today, because she's been doing 6 miles, and I've been trying to walk as much as I can with her without holding her back. And she's the one that got me to walking over to Dumont Hill. She's just as hard at this as anybody is. But guess what? She's here because God. She is here because of God. God has put her into my life. So there you go. Everything I have has come from God. My house, my vehicles, my kids, grandkids, wife, friends, family, they're all here because of one person, God. If it wasn't for God, I'd be nothing. I am nothing without God. Now, if you want to know about this God, you don't know, and you flipped over and you stumbled across me, and you're watching this, He's there waiting. There's no number to call. There's no hoops to jump through. There's no shipping and handling to pay to get the free item. It's as easy as saying, okay, here I am, God. I believe in you. I trust in you. I accept you in my life. Because it says, He knocketh upon our door. All we have to do is let Him in. And I don't think that's in the Bible. I think that's just something that it is. If it is, I'd have to really look hard for it. But, all He's asking for us is to accept Him. He's already our Father. He's our Creator. We just got to say, okay, God, I believe in you. Here I am. And you get saved today, tomorrow you're going to doubt it. Because the first thing, the devil don't want you. The devil does not want you to understand God's power. It's all it is to it and about it. So, the devil's going to throw everything he can at you. He's going to throw every bit of doubt. That's what I'm saying. Go to the armor of Christ. Go to Ephesians. If you become a new Christian, go to Ephesians, and that's the first verse, chapter, the first book of the Bible to read. Go through Ephesians, and I think it's actually the last book, the last chapter of Ephesians is where the coat of armor is, and that's one of the most important, because. And read it over and over until you understand it, and research it. But being able to understand that God is there for you to protect you. God is winning these battles. And He's probably, even if you are not a Christian and you've never accepted Him, He's probably done put you where He wants you. He's been there protecting you the whole time, and you just didn't know it. Because I think He protects all His children. Even the ones that have not accepted Him, I think He's got His hand of protection and tries to protect them before they realize that they need to become a Christian. Now, is that an excuse to, put it off on me? No, that's not an excuse, because, God wants a relationship with you. He's a jealous God. He says that in the Bible. He tells on Himself. He says, I'm jealous. I want you to be a part of your life. I want, the relationship with you. You know, I think he's there for you when you're not there for him. But at the same time, I think he's always there for you. It's like the picture of the beach with the footprints, and the guy asking, Lord, why is there only one set of footprints right there? And where'd you go? He goes, I didn't go nowhere, son. I was packing you. Son, daughter, I was packing you through those times. That's where I was carrying you. And I know he's carried me a lot. He's a strong old God. I'm a big old boy. He's packed me through a lot. And, the thing about it is, as firefighters, we're go into a building, and if we have to rescue somebody, we drag them out. Well, shows on TV, they throw them over their shoulder and walk out with them. Yeah, try that. It don't work as good as you think. I don't care how big a boy you are. And you throw another guy your same size over your shoulder and pack him out. You are a man. Yeah. So, but no, we drag each other out. God's strong enough. He just packs us out. And it's one of those things where you have to look at it as God is there for you. All you have to do is accept it. Now that I've got done with that part, let's close this thing out. The blanket prayer that I do all the time. Lord, whoever sees this, give them what they need. Blanket them with your love, your understanding. You've already done that. Lord, let this go out and touch somebody's heart, whether one person. This video is worth all the time. Everything I've said on here is worth time for one person. The right person to see this video that needs it at the time. I'm here doing this for you, God, not for me. It's not for my recognition. It's for the recognition of God. So, Lord, whoever sees this video, and the people that don't see this video, the ones that are in need, be there for them, which, like I know you are. Take care of their needs. That's all I got for the night. God bless you. Y'all have a good night.